And welcome back, fourth and long fans. It's your footy correspondent, Coach Donnie Hess, here back with another episode of Donnie's Disposals. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this, I am super, super excited. You guys all know I am a huge Sydney Swans fan, and today I have the extreme pleasure of talking to one of the inaugural players for the Sydney Swans AFLW team, Miss Aliesha Newman. Aliesha, so glad to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. Let's get this started. I always like finding out just a little bit about the person that I'm chatting with outside of the game of footy. I think we all know footy. We all love footy. Everybody that likes to watch this loves the sport, but I like finding out a little bit about the person that I'm chatting with. So could you tell me just a little bit about yourself outside of the game of footy?
This is always such a broad question, isn't it?
Hmm.
I started playing footy when I got drafted in the inaugural season in 2016. Prior to that, I was playing soccer and also doing athletics as well. So I did athletics for about 14 years as a junior. Now I'm just working full time at the tax office, and I'm also in the Army Reserves as well. So kind of very busy at the moment, but yeah, I don't like to sit still. So I always like things going on.
Not a problem. You don't have to worry about being bored. That's the best part about it. When you
No,
are super
definitely
busy, you
not.
don't have to worry about being bored. That's absolutely awesome. So let's go to it. Again, you have this long history of footy in Australia. I don't have it. So I love finding out. Can you remember your earliest memory of football?
Earliest memory, I think being a Western Bulldogs fan growing up. I think I grew up in the West as well, so where Footscray were. So I think just mum taking me down to Witten Oval and watching training because by then Witten Oval was the games weren't held there anymore. So we'd go and watch some training and then just obviously going out to the G and Etihad or Telstra Dome or Marvel or whatever name it was back then to watch the boys play. So yeah, I've always, even though I haven't played footy for that long in the big scheme of things, I've always been a huge AFL supporter.
Awesome. And it's hard not to, especially in football mad Victoria. So I gotta ask this in being a footy player, you have this whole different feel to it. What's your favorite part about playing footy?
I think I've been asked that question so many times, and I feel like I just change my response all the time. But I feel like just probably the main thing is just having a big family that you can go in and you spend most of your time with your teammates, so they do become your family. And I think just like you've got 30, 31 players that just are your best mates. And it's just like, especially up here, we've got a really young group. So it's really exciting for us. But yeah, I think that's probably the main thing. I just love the game of footy. So yeah, kicking goals and not tackling. Tackling's not the best, but yeah, like I love the whole aspect of the game.
Oh, don't be the superstar. Come on, you got to put a little bit of work in. Come on, tackling is so much fun. I was a full forward when I played, so sometimes getting a tackle sometimes is always the most difficult part for me that I always looked at it. So, as you kind of said, you were part of the inaugural draft. Can you take me back? What were your thoughts when you heard your name being called, and kind of your emotions at that time?
Well, my story is actually a little bit different. So I was never drafted from the draft. So I was actually a free agent for Melbourne Demons. So I just went down to a rookie day. My best mate was also she was a Melbourne supporter. So Melbourne put out, I guess, a rookie day thing on Facebook, and she saw it and she's like, "Hey, we should go down." And I was like, I don't know, like we had a soccer grand final coming up, and I was like, no, I don't think like it's probably not ideal that we go. And she's like, come on, like it'd be really fun. So I went down, and then we got asked back to the second trial, so the both of us. And then they were like, look, we've already chosen our two rookies, unfortunately, but you guys can go into the draft. There was probably about 60 odd of us, I reckon. And they're like, well, you can go into the draft, but obviously there's no like guarantee that anyone's going to get picked up. So yeah, my uncle actually put me in the draft, and I didn't even know, like, I didn't really know too much about like the draft or anything like that. Like, not obviously being the very first one. I was still playing soccer, so I kind of just erased that whole kind of rookie day out of my mind. Because really, to me, it was just a little bit of fun. And then the draft had happened. 2 weeks after the draft, we had a free agency period, and there were about 5 girls that Melbourne was looking at. And I got a call from the head coach, Mick, and he was like, "Hey, we're looking at a couple of girls. Did you want to come down and have a kick with me, and we'll kind of see how your skills are and all that sort of stuff, and we'll kind of go from there." And I was like, "Yep, no worries." And at the time, Debbie Lee, who's now at Bulldogs, and Daisy Pearce as well, was supposed to come down and train with me, so that I wasn't by myself. But they never ended up showing up, and I only found out literally like 4 years ago now, when I was still at Melbourne, that they were actually there in the bushes, hiding at the back, just watching me. But anyway, so I did the training session, probably maybe about 40 minutes or so. It was just me and the head coach. And then I got a call the next day, and they were like, "We'd like to offer you the last position on our list." So, yeah, my story is a little bit different to the I guess, getting drafted and going through all those emotions, because, yeah, to me, it was just a little bit of fun. But I'm so glad that I did go down to that initial training session, because, yeah, I obviously wouldn't be where I am now.
That's a crazy story, and it just shows you that sometimes just a whim thing can turn out. So when you got the phone call, what was the first thing that went to your head that they offered you the last spot on the list?
Yeah, I think like, I'm actually just got goosebumps just then. So, like, it's not like many times that you kind of think back to, I guess, the first time. And like, even with the girls here, like, there's so many girls that missed out on drafts, and I was just lucky enough to, I guess, get selected from just a training session. So I think I'm very lucky. The emotions were like kind of, you joking kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like, I was just like, that this is not happening. Like, I can't. It's just not, to me. It just didn't feel like normal, and it probably didn't feel normal until probably 2 3 years down the track, where I was actually involved in the program, because it still kind of felt like a whirlwind for us. And it's probably the same with all the girls that you've spoken to, but yeah, like, it hasn't really. It was an emotional time. I had my mum in the car when I answered the phone, and I can't remember where we were going, but I just burst into tears, and I was like, "This is probably like the best day of my life."
Fantastic. That's great. And it just shows you what that impact can do on that. So this is a question I like asking just because I think it's interesting. The couple of interviews that I've done with the AFLW players, this has been one that surprised me with their answer, but in a good way. I'm gonna
Mhm.
let you have a humble brag moment. What's your biggest accomplishment as a footballer?
Biggest accomplishment as a footballer. I don't really like talking about myself, and I'm probably, I don't know. I did see Steph's reaction, and
Hmm.
it's probably very similar. Um, I think just the first game, just being able to run out in the very first game for Melbourne, out of Casey Fields against Brisbane. We lost, but it was probably one of the most exciting moments, like, ever in my sporting career. I think, yeah, just being in a team environment. I mean, I was lucky enough to win goal of the year in 2018, but yeah, I think just being in a team environment, I think, is probably, like, yeah, humbly is probably the best feeling.
AFLW 3 for 3, all with a team oriented answer. I absolutely love it. That's fantastic. So we went a little bit with the past. Let's go to present now. And again, as I kind of said, I am a huge Sydney fan, so this is fantastic for me to. I have an AFLW team to watch. I've been watching AFLW. I've been doing reviews for a couple of years now, so this is a huge moment for me. But I gotta ask, for somebody that was playing with Collingwood and played with the D's, what was the biggest reason that you decided to come join the Sydney Swans?
I think for me it was just like, I mean, obviously I had a fresh start moving to Collingwood, and my seasons didn't pan out the way I wanted them to. So I just felt like, for me, maybe it was just a really big change, to move into state, and to, I guess, be a part of. I was obviously a part of Melbourne when we first were in the competition, but there was just something about Sydney Swans that was just so exciting. My dad's a huge Swan supporter as well, so when I called him up and told him I was moving over to Sydney, he was over the moon. But yeah, I think it was just like something really exciting. I know Scott from Collingwood, and I knew what he was about, and yeah, I really wanted to be under him. And once I saw kind of the build of the list that we'd had going, and a few like experienced girls as well, and just the excitement of having a really young squad. I think, yeah, like I said before, we've got a lot of girls that missed out on drafts, and are really like hungry to be a part of the competition. And I think that was really exciting. So yeah, once I kind of had the background of the Swans, it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, and I've heard a few of the interviews with Coach Gallons, and I've been impressed with how he's handled this. That he's really kind of pinpointed a few of the things that didn't really work for him 100% at North. So I'm super
Yeah,
excited for this group. I know that there's going to be some growing pains. I know that, but I come in
absolutely.
I'm super excited because I think the future and the building blocks are there for a great club environment. So um this thing has kind of been thrown together really quickly with the move up of this season to August, and I know it's been kind of crazy, but you've been training now with the girls on the club now. So I got to ask, do you have a best mate at the club currently?
Well, I live with four girls on the squad, so I'd have to say that all of those are my best mates at the moment. We probably spend way too much time together. But probably outside of my household, probably Brooke Lachlan. We've kind of gelled really close together. But to be honest, like I could literally go through the whole entire squad. Like, I think we've got a really close bunch, and I think that's really exciting for us. So yeah, there's like I could literally say the whole squad.
And that's great. And I remember Coach Gowan saying in a couple of the podcasts, he goes, he was pleasantly surprised on how quickly you ladies have gelled. Like hearing jokes between some of the girls that were kind of New South Wales based ones with some of the VFLW ladies, and some of you girls like Maddie Collier, Blue Lachlan, and yourself who have AFLW experience. So his joy as he said that, he's like, I've been pleasantly surprised that these girls have gelled so well, and it's been such a cool thing to watch. So I hearing that in the podcast was absolutely fantastic. So I just wanted to let you know that your coach sees it, and I think he's
Yeah,
super excited about how this season is going. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that there. So again, it's a young list. It's a list that it's going to grow together. So can you describe kind of the room right now? Like, is it one of those where, because it's still young, everybody's kind of learning everybody's quirks, who's the jokester, who's the introvert, all that? Like, kind of what's the room like right now? Because you ladies have kind of had to gel quickly, and it's done pretty well so far.
yeah, definitely. I think yeah, it's. I mean, you couldn't really tell. I guess how everyone is on game day until literally last Friday when we played the Giants. So yeah, it was interesting to see how people do react. I know myself, I'm one that kind of headphones in, don't talk to me until we're like ready to go out. But we do have like a lot of jokesters. We had like a few of the girls. For example, one of my housemates, Sarah Skinner. She's just if you talk to anyone about her, she's just she loves the limelight, loves being the clown. But she's very funny. And like there was a big circle of girls kicking the soccer ball. Like it was just like it was really interesting to see. Like I guess the room you've got. Yeah, a few of the other girls that are experienced and have been in situations like this. I think it was just really exciting for all the girls to be able to put on a Swans jersey and actually run out for the first time, even though it wasn't obviously a scheduled practice match. But I think this weekend again will change probably because like just the excitement of being the very first time. I think yeah, I guess once we kind of go into it further, you'll be able to distinguish who's who and who wants to be the class clown and who wants to be just left alone. But we've got so many jokesters in our team. It's actually like, I reckon we've got more jokesters than we do just like mellow introverts. So yeah, it definitely keeps the change rooms interesting. That's for sure.
I saw some of the team pictures at little offshoots, and they were absolutely hilarious. I was absolutely cracking up. I thought that was absolutely fascinating. So I saw this video and I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Was the first night you ladies got to train on the SCG, and the greeting from the men's team and Tom Harley. Describe to me that emotions, because I could see so many of you ladies were smiling because you had the men's team around you, and there's some very well-known superstars there, and they were very gracious to greet you. You got welcomed by Dane Rampy in what I thought was absolutely perfect, saying that the club feels whole now. So describe to me those emotions, and did you get a chance to talk to any of the men's players while you were there?
I didn't get a chance to talk to anyone, but I think it was just the whole atmosphere of that night was just incredible. Like, it was something very special, and I know that all the girls will hold it with them for the rest of their lives. But like, speaking to like a few of the girls that have been at other clubs, like we've never been or felt like that, and that welcome into a footy club before. Just the like, even the men's players were at our jumper presentation, and for them it probably seems like it's just something little, we're just going to support the girls and blah blah, but I don't think they understand the impact that it has on us girls. And obviously, like you said, there are some superstars in that team, and to be able to, I guess, be in the same room as them, and to be like, for them to welcome us into the club, it was just an incredible experience. And I think even with Tom Harley being the person that he is, and the player that he was at Geelong, like to think that like he's obviously welcoming us from a CEO point of view, but I think, yeah, even him and his impact, I don't, there's a lot of girls that obviously are too young to know what he was like, but
Mhm.
I'm lucky enough to actually understand and know like what he did for Geelong. So even him speaking to us was an amazing moment for me. So I know that, yeah, there's so many like wow moments. I know that like we walked out into the center of the SCG and there was a video showing of what had already been, and like I know that there was probably 97% of the group were all in tears. Like, it was an emotional day, but it was just incredible.
Absolutely. And I liked it. I think I watched it probably like 20 times. It was so cool to see it. And then the funniest part was seeing Montana Ham take a quick peek at Buddy was absolutely hilarious, because I had heard in an interview that Buddy's one of her favorite players. So it was kind of a cheeky little moment. I saw she walked out and she kind of took that, oh my gosh, that's Buddy, as she tried to continue to walk. So I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And then actually I want to go really back to a quick subject here, is that with Lance Buddy Franklin being a very well-known Indigenous player, I have to thank you. You were actually my first ever interview of somebody with Indigenous background. So I want to thank you for that. And then really quickly, can you tell me a little bit about, has your Indigenous background kind of influenced your footy a little bit?
Yeah, it has. I think like once I started playing football, I guess there were a lot of like, there was a big part of me that didn't really like to express that I was Indigenous, just purely because of like racism and all that
Mhm.
sort of stuff. And I think once I started to play footy, I realised that it was a really safe space. When I was at Melbourne, I had Neville Jetta and Jeff Garlett that were the senior players in the men's team, and they really took me under their wing and kind of taught me a lot. And as well as Matthew Whelan as well, he was our Indigenous liaison officer at the club. And um, I think, yeah, just being around those boys and just, I guess, experiencing what they've experienced. And it's a really good platform to be able to express who you are. And I think, yeah, since playing football, I think I've really, I guess, come out of my shell, if you could use that term, in regards to my culture and who I am and what I'm about. So I think, yeah, just being able to use AFL as a platform has been really exciting. And yeah, I've definitely grown as a person since playing footy.
Fantastic. That's great. I know one of my favorite footy shows I love watching every week is Yokai Footy on the AFL app. It's one of my absolutely awesome. I almost went with where's your mob and where are you from? I thought about doing it, but I didn't want to be I wanted to be as respectful as possible about that. So, but it's one of my favorite shows. Like I absolutely love what they do there. So we'll rein it in a little bit and go back to as we kind of discussed in many of these episodes, unfortunately, you ladies are still not full-time professionals. You still have a full-time job, as you kind of said. You're super busy. So as of right now, kind of what's your typical day, like a training day that you've got to train for the Swans currently?
So a typical day for me, I'm lucky enough, I'm still working at home, with obviously everything COVID at the moment. So I've managed to be able to work from home still. So I'm very grateful for that. So usually I'll probably wake up at around, I'm probably one of the later starters. I don't actually have a time to start. So I can kind of wake up anywhere between kind of 7 and 9, depending on if I've trained the night before. But I'm usually up around 8 o'clock, quarter to 8, and then I'll like go down and get some breakfast, and I'll have my laptop down there with me. And then I'll work throughout the day, and then probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock, depending on if we have to head into the club early, I'll go in and then we'll obviously do our meetings and training and all that sort of stuff. And then we're probably home anywhere between 9:30 and 10. So yeah, they're long days, but yeah, it's very rewarding once you get into the club. So you kind of forget about the things that you've done during the day.
Yeah, and it's great that you have that opportunity too, and you got to count your blessings. I mean, you get to play footy professionally and get paid for it. I know, again, it's not 100% the way you want it, but it's something. And as I told Steph, and I want you please relay this to the ladies there is we appreciate everything that you do. I especially appreciate it because you ladies are fantastic. I think this league is growing in leaps and bounds, and I cannot wait to see how it grows over these next few years. Cannot wait. um, I'll jump to the next one. Is I like finding out because again, you've got a lot of experience. You've seen footy plenty. Is there a player that you kind of model your game after?
Obviously growing up, we didn't have females, but I think, and it's not even, he doesn't even play my position, but Lindsay Gilby was my favorite player at the Bulldogs. I don't know why. It was just the way he was so ferocious at the game. His use of his skill execution was elite. His running off halfback was really it was just something I wanted to do growing up. And obviously at the time, I knew that I couldn't do it because I was not even playing football. But when I used to go out and kick the football by myself, because I've got a younger sister and she's nowhere, she doesn't do any form of ball sport. She's a weightlifter. So I used to go out in the backyard, and I used to I was every player I could in the backyard, and I was commentating, and I was the umpire, and I was a player, and it was just I think Lindsay Gilby was probably my favorite player growing up. But then you've also got Brad Johnson as well at the Dogs. So yeah, he was a littler player as well, and it looking at him, and I've had the privilege to meet him a couple of times, and he's just so down to earth as well. So that definitely helps when you've got a role model like that. Yeah, he was ferocious at the ball as well.
Yeah, ferocious, but always had a smile on his face. That's the thing you got to give
Exactly
Brad
right.
Johnson. That
Yeah.
that's absolute. That's got to be the weirdest sensation, going hard in the ball and then looking at a guy and having him smile back at you. It's got to be
Yeah. Exactly.
the weirdest one. So, again, you've played for Melbourne, you played for Collingwood, now you're playing for the Swans. Now, so you've had plenty of experiences, several seasons. I gotta ask, who's been your toughest opponent that you've ever matched up against?
That is a very good question. Um, Toughest opponent. I reckon Adelaide. I don't even know if she still plays, but I think it was Dana Cox. Um, she was a small defender. She was just very physical. So I think um, physicality with me is always if you get enough of it, I'll end up getting pretty mad. Well, I used to when I was younger. I don't anymore, and it's taken me a very long time to kind of get past that I guess annoying stage, and to be able to, I guess, use my weapons other ways, because I know that I'm not going to be able to stand there and wrestle you off. But yeah, I think she was really difficult. Probably another one from Melbourne was either Sarah Lampard or Shelley Heath. They were both, especially because they knew what I was like, playing them for a very long time. Those two are really great players in their own rights, and I think, yeah, they were speedy as well as strong. So it was like they had the whole package. So yeah, I'd probably say yeah. But to be honest, I've had some really good players play on me. So yeah, it's you could almost say like all of them.
Yeah, Shelly Heath is one of them. I'm fascinated with her because she's a mini mouse, but she's so tough on the footy, and I absolutely loved her game. So she's been one of those. And I've if anybody that's listened to the podcast has heard me go on and on, one of my favorite players to watch is Lily Mithen of the Melbourne Demons. Like there's something about the way she plays is just fascinating to me because she's not the biggest in the world, but she is just so dogged in how she does everything. She'll get absolutely smashed and get up like nothing was wrong. So it's been one of those where it's going to be a weird season for me because I have the Swans to watch this year, but I do have my players that I thoroughly enjoy watching, like a Lily Mithen. So it's going to be a weird dichotomy for me going into this year. But I'll pick some of you ladies from the Swans because I know once I start seeing you guys play as a group, I'll find those ladies that I think that I really will connect with, and hopefully
Yeah.
one very very soon. So I'm this is a very interesting question for me because again, this is such a different thing for most people. Is what do you think has been the biggest challenge in joining the Swans this year, being an expansion club?
The biggest challenge, I think we've definitely had, like, obviously a fair few challenges moving into state, moving in with girls that you have no idea what they're about, and I guess who they are. I think that's obviously a challenge in itself. But I think, like, from a football perspective, it's been it's been challenging just to be able to, I guess, pull a group together from all different backgrounds, and to be able to, I guess, have a 10-week preseason and then be able to step into games straight away. But credit to our whole group, like, we've just taken it on the chin, and they've worked so hard. I was in rehab for the first 4 weeks of our training, so I was able to, I guess, sit back and have a look and watch how the girls go about it. And they're just so eager. So I guess there's definitely challenges within expansion clubs and within all clubs, like even the girls that have played last season, like there's going to be challenges with niggles and all that sort of stuff. We didn't really have too much time off, but I think our group has really used that as, I guess, a rewarding challenge, if you could, because yeah, they're so eager, as I've said a few times in the podcast already, but they're just so eager to be able to get out there and train and learn. They're all sponges. They're always asking questions. So yeah, there's obviously multiple challenges, but I think our girls are doing really well with that so far.
Awesome. That's great to hear that they're so excited to learn, and this has been fantastic. So as I kind of told you in our message with it, we were going as we set this up, is I reached out to several of my Swan supporters to get a few supporter questions, and I've loved it. One of them with jokingly said, "Do you got any information on Buddy's contract?"
we we don't even cross, like, we hardly even cross paths with the men's team. So I know as much as what you guys know, and I'm still a spectator in that aspect as well. So I've genuinely got no idea.
I did. It was genuinely a joke. I had to ask because it was funny that somebody put that down. So I had to ask just for pure entertainment.
Yeah,
That
no, of
for on
course.
that one. So okay, the first one is from Mark here. Is what was your inspiration to play footy, and was it a hard decision to come join the Swans?
Inspiration to play footy. I think it was just growing up as a kid. I always wanted to play football, but mum was always like, "No, you're too small. You're too little. let's try and get you into another sport. So that I guess isn't as physical. But I just always loved the game. I was like collecting footy cards as a junior. Like I was just so invested in football. So I guess when I got the opportunity to be a part of footy, I kind of leapt at it with both hands. And yeah, I think just everything about football I love, which has been amazing, and I guess it's a blessing as well. You obviously want to love what you do. Um, moving to the Swans, I think yes, it was a hard decision because I leave my partner and my puppy dog behind. I've got a French bulldog whose name is Arlo. It's actually his birthday tomorrow. He's turning 1, so I'm shattered I'm not there. But yeah, that was probably the hardest thing for me was leaving them. But I think again, like as I said, it was such an exciting opportunity, and once I spoke to Scott and Kate, it was almost a no-brainer for me to move up and yeah, like be a part of something so exciting. So yeah, yes and no, it was a hard decision, but then again, yeah, it was kind of a decision I made overnight, and I was like, yep, I'm on the move.
At least, hey, you convinced yourself. You decided to go with it. You went with conviction. I don't begrudge you, and trust me, there are many Swans fans that are super happy to have you part of the Swans. The next 3 or 4 are from a very well known Swans fan named Zane Red and White. He also does art, and he has some very interesting ones. So I love this. With the Royal Hall of Industry still not fully finished yet, and that being kind of going to be the hub for both you and the men's here very soon. What is your ladies' change room situation right now?
Yeah, it is. It is a bit of a different one. So we've got kind of 4 levels at the SCG that are like Swans based. So we're all the way up at the top, and it's just literally they've managed to kind of change that whole landscape of the top level. It used to be where all the media team and I guess all of the finance and all that sort of stuff as well. So unfortunately we had to kick them out because there was obviously no room for us, and with the new hub not being available just yet. So we're just in an old kind of meeting room, and we've got like all the lockers kind of around the outside, and but like to be honest, it's not flash, it's not anything like that, but it's enough for us. And I think like you go down and the men's change room is all the way in, they call it the basement, and it's like you've got kind of your meeting area, and that's where the race is for the SCG and all that sort of stuff. And you have a look at their change room, you're like, far out, that's so big. But then again, like we don't really spend a lot of time in the change room, so I don't like, as much as it's really cool and flashy that you have such a big change room, it's just like you put your stuff in there. We've got like a little area where you've got couches, and you've got like our vision area, so we have a look at vision and on the computers and all that sort of stuff. But you kind of you hang out in that kind of hub area. So yeah, the change room area is I guess it's a change room. It's a place where you can put your stuff. But yeah, we're really looking forward to the new, I guess, facility and being able to have a look in there. A few of the girls have had a tour. I'm yet to have a tour, but yeah, it's not quite ready, but it's so exciting to see what they've got in store for us over there, which is literally up the road, which is amazing.
Yeah, I've heard, and when I talked to Jude Bolton, he said that with it's going to hub you both, and it's going to be absolutely just elite. They tried to make it some of the best, one of the best facilities in the entire country. So I can't wait for it to be open. So I think you kind of answered this. There's no issues with you guys being affected with the men's side still playing currently, is it?
No, no, definitely not. I think yeah, it's where sometimes we kind of cross over, but yeah, very rarely. Sometimes you're in the gym and we're about to start training, but yeah, we've got, they are with obviously the COVID situation as well. They're trying to keep us limited to be able to, and especially with how their season's going at the moment, we obviously don't want them to have any impacts on their season. So yeah, they're trying to keep us away for the moment. But then obviously once they start preseason and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure we'll see them more once our season starts.
Okay, and in June, and this is, and the good part is you said that you were kind of in rehabilitation. So, has the rehabilitation for the Swans been similar to what you had at Melbourne and Collingwood? And then he also wanted to know, there's never a way that you have any out of pocket expenses for that. It's covered by the club, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the Swans a bit, we've been really lucky as a group. We've got four physios, which at both Pies and Melbourne, we only ever had two. So they've kind of the resources within a rehab situation and a physio situation is unreal. We've also got two doctors as well, so we've always got someone on hand, and yeah, we've got absolutely no out of pocket expenses, and if we do, and that's something that comes up, the club reimburses you straight away. So yeah, and that's within any club. That's not just Swans. So that's yeah, the whole of the AFL. So yeah, it's we're very lucky. I think even though we aren't a fully professional sport just yet, there's definitely aspects where they really do look after you.
And that's great. And I know, I think that was one of those he wanted to know. Zane is a very intriguing person, and he absolutely loves. He does art too. If you ever get a chance to look him up on Instagram, he has some of his art out there, and it's. I have a feeling he'll probably start doing some of the women's players very soon, and he's very good to look him up there. So this one's from Derek. How do you feel about being part of the inaugural team at the Swans, and do you have any specific goals like finals this year?
Being a part of the Swans obviously is really exciting. I think it's just that's probably the word that I use to describe the whole situation. It's going to be really exciting for our supporters. I know that we've got the most supporters in the country already, and we haven't even played a game. So there's so much support behind us, and I think it's going to be obviously we're going to have ups and downs being a new team and not having I guess as much experience behind us or as much I guess time to kind of be playing together as well. So but I think as a squad we haven't even spoken about finals or anything. We're literally all we've got eyes for at the moment is round one. So and I hope that that stays that way because we obviously don't want to get it's just that week by week I guess cliche, but I think it's for us, it really is that because we have no expectations as a group. And I know for myself, I definitely got no expectations. I think just going week by week with us and to be able to grow and learn, like we played the Giants on Friday and we've got the Pies this weekend. So there's already so many learnings that we've come out of the Giants game. And I know that we're going to continue to learn and girls are going to have so many questions. And I think it's just, yeah, it's really exciting to be a part of. But yeah, definitely, we'd obviously love to play finals, but yeah, we obviously haven't even thought about that just yet.
Yeah, I thought that question was pretty fair. Was a little out there. I was like, for me, and this is, and I've taken this is that I just want to see you ladies progress. If you don't make finals, you don't make finals. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not even going to worry about whether you win or lose. Is if you ladies progress, get stronger, get better, the skills, more cohesion in the team. I honestly, just by the interactions that I've had online, I think it will not shock me if your first game round one against St. Kilda is a lockout. It will not shock me a bit. The chatter and the communication, so many people are excited. And as you kind of stated, membership, we have the number one membership and the Swans haven't played a single game. I'll put my hand up. I'm a foundation member, very proud foundation member. I need to get my certificate into a picture case. I keep forgetting to do that, but I'm trust me, and I will send you. I actually when they first announced the foundation memberships, I tweeted about it. And the club actually put my tweet as part of a kind of collage of tweets about the start of the foundation membership. So I will send it to you because I got a kick out of that. That I'm an
Yeah,
American.
absolutely.
I'm an American supporter, and they grabbed mine. Now, maybe it was also because I mentioned that I'm 13,000 kilometers away. So I'm a little ways away from you from the SCG. I'm a little ways away from Sydney, but I'm going to be sitting in front of my iPad for your guys for your ladies games, just like I do the men. If it's at 1 in the morning, I'm up at 1 in the morning. I'm going to be watching. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. I'm going to be supporting. I know you ladies aren't going to be able to hear me, but I'm going to be right behind you the whole way. So I just wanted to that was one of my favorite questions, which actually
No, I really
leads to
appreciate it.
my favorite. This is my favorite fan question because I want to hear I want to hear this is that everybody talks about the Bloods culture. So
Mhm.
Connie asked this, what do you think of the Bloods culture and how do you think it may influence you and the rest of the team going into this season?
I think, yeah, I think the whole aspect of, like, even we spoke about it before, that whole night of Tom Harley starting, and then we had a few of the boys come in and speak to us, and then walking out on the race and being greeted by every single AFL player. I think the Bloods culture is definitely something that we're fully invested in. I think, obviously, I can't say too much because it is a lot of in-house, I guess, culture. But I think the boys' investment in that and them being able to, I guess, initiate, if you could use that word, initiate us into the Bloods culture, I think is something purely special. And I think we're definitely, there's definitely aspects of our training sessions and hopefully within our games that we're going to be able to draw from the experiences that we had with the men. And I think, yeah, they've built something very special. And I know that it's obviously very difficult from an outside looking in, to see, I guess, how they relate the culture and the Bloods culture into their team environment. But I think, yeah, it's definitely something very special, and we'll definitely use throughout the season and throughout the rest of the history of the Swans AFLW.
I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun to watch that. So I love this. One of our supporters, Jack, actually, he wanted to ask you about the Indigenous based boots that you had for Indigenous round last year and how you kind of came up with the design that you had for your boots for the Indigenous round last
I can't even remember the boots I did. I'm actually currently painting some boots for myself at the moment. I'm not completely done, but I do have them. So I've got, like, there's a little flag there,
year.
and then I've started to, I guess, draw on my
Sneak
boots. I
preview, loving it.
can't
That is
really,
awesome.
yeah, they're not done. Obviously, that side's completely clean, but yeah, I think all of the boots that I designed for myself, I guess, is all about my journey. And I think every year, obviously, there's another circle that grows onto my boots, just because there's another step in my journey. So I think that's probably my designs in a nutshell. I really like to, I guess, and obviously I wear a helmet as well, and that's another aspect of, I guess, my journey and where I am today. So I think, yeah, they're probably, it's the main, I guess, designs that I do. My designs obviously vary from, if I do like a teammates, and I know that I will have a fair few this year. So, which I'm actually really excited about. So, yeah, there will be a few different designs floating around. But I love, like, getting amongst the art side of things, and um, I think, yeah, it's something that I hold really close to me, and to be able to, I guess, express myself in art, I think is, yeah, something that I'm really, yeah, I guess, humbled about.
Fantastic. And I love that we get a sneak preview. So we get to see a little bit of the boots that you may be able to wear this year. That's absolutely fantastic. And this is the last one is kind of a piggyback off of that. And then what do you think of the pathways that are currently available for young Indigenous women to make it to the AFLW? And do you think that with more clubs, we're going to see the influx of more Indigenous women into the AFLW?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, obviously, in the early years there wasn't too much, I guess, pathway. But for example, I know that, like, we've got a Woomera's program, which is a female Indigenous, I guess, um, it's kind of like NAB League. They play against some of the NAB League the NAB League states and all that sort of stuff. But I think that's really exciting, and that's something that I've been a part of a little bit. But I do want to be able to put my hand up a little bit more for that. But yeah, I think like every season we've got new girls coming in. We've got more on each list. So I know that when I first started, we probably only had a handful of girls that are Indigenous, and now there's talk of potentially having like an Indigenous All-Stars game like the men do. So with obviously numbers growing every year, it's really exciting. So I think the pathways are definitely starting to develop in each club individually as well. I know that there's obviously there's programs. I know for Melbourne, for example, we were lucky enough they had a talent ID with the Northern Territory. So every year when the men would go up there, they allowed myself and one other AFLW girl to go up and be a part of that and go out to communities and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's definitely growing every year, and spreading awareness as well, being able to get the girls and the boys as well. Like the boys have, I guess, really established foundations within Indigenous programs within their clubs. So yeah, I think the next step is just literally mimicking or imaging exactly what they do to be able to get some girls in, because there's so much talent everywhere, and it's just a matter of tapping into that. So yeah, there's some really exciting things happening, and yeah, hopefully I'm a part of a few of those so that we can yeah, get some more Indigenous females into the sport, because yeah, there's so much talent. It's incredible.
And the best part is, with 4 new teams, we have so much room for growth too. And it's not just in
Absolutely.
Indigenous communities, but the expansion of women's footy since AFLW started has been fantastic. I mean, I saw
Yeah.
one statistic. There was like 300% growth in Victoria, 200% growth in South Australia, 200% growth in Western Australia. They've exploded. Like there were leagues that had
Yeah.
one women's team, and now they've got 50. So the
Yeah.
AFLW, as much as detractors, and again, I do air quotes because I think they're just jealous that they can't do what you ladies do.
100%.
They're like they're not good. It's like, let this grow. This has got a lot of things going for it in a good way, in a very, very good way, in a growth opportunity, not only for the AFL, but for grassroots footy everywhere in the country. I'm super, super excited for that. So we get towards the end. I like asking a lot of fun questions. I like making you think a little bit. So we're gonna do this right now. You're an expansion team with the Swans here, so I'm going to let you have a little fun with this. I'm going to install you as the list manager for the AFLW Swans. You get one player from the entire league, from the other 17 clubs, one player that you'd like to bring into the Swans. Who would it be and why?
Um, all right. There's just so many good players. I think just as because she's my like a good mate of mine and an unbelievable player, I reckon Chloe Malloy. She's just like her everything in regards to footy is just immaculate. I think her speed, her agility, her goal sense. She's also been All Australian at halfback. Like, I think she can play literally anywhere. I think I've seen a few clips of her playing through the midfield. I'm sure we're going to see it on the weekend when they come up and play us. But I think and her leadership as well. Like, she's an all round player. And I think, yeah, the Pies need to lock her in very early. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of teams coming after her because of the player and person she is as well. So yeah, definitely, I'd say Chloe Malloy.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see that, because I know last year when they had, I think it was the North Melbourne game, that she talked about loyalty in one of her interviews. So I'm very interested to see how it goes. I remember when I talked to Steph, I put her name out there in the one word, she put X Factor, and I 100% agree
Yeah,
with that. I mean, I think
absolutely.
Chloe can do anything anywhere on the ground if she wanted to. She's got that type of ability. So a great choice in my personal opinion, because she can go anywhere and still be a star. So I kind of just mentioned it a little bit. Is I love this is that I'm going to throw out a name of a player, teammates, ex teammates, different things like that. Give me your
Mhm.
first word that comes to mind. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Brooke Lachlan.
Uh, quiet, but very like her humor is it's like a dry humor. Let's go with that.
All righty. Aaron Phillips.
Just an absolute beast.
All right. Brianna Tarrant.
Um. Oh, all right. She's a character.
Character. Okay. Kiera Bowers.
Oh, she's just a tackling machine.
Okay. Maddie Collier.
Uh she's her leadership is unbelievable.
All right. Daisy Pierce.
Another one with great leadership, but just like her knowledge of football is incredible.
All right. One that I'm very interested. Montana Ham.
I love Mon. She's probably one of my favorite players up here and people. She like I'm lucky enough that I live with Mon, so when she's up from Melbourne after school, but I could literally say any word about her. She's so kind. She's so caring. She's her like her football. She's a little beast. She's not little. She towers over me, but yeah, I think she's just a great human and there's gonna be some really exciting things for her.
All right. Courtney Hodder.
She's a bit of an X factor as well.
All right. Beck Privatelli.
um she's a bit of an all-round. She plays tall but can also play small,
All right.
and great person.
Ultimate one. Steph Kiochi.
She's a larrikin. She's she
I love it.
that's literally all I can say for her. And like I still have regular conversations with Chotch, and yeah, she's one of those ones, the dance in the change room that doesn't stop dancing, and she's got no rhythmic bone in her body. She couldn't dance to save herself, but she just keeps going. It's hilarious.
Absolutely love it. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you is that since you said you wear a helmet, I got to ask Cynthia Hamilton Swan's helmet. What's the first word that comes to mind?
Just die hard Swan.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I saw the picture. I saw the pictures of it, and I remember even tweeting. I said, "That is fire. That is absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. That is absolutely awesome. Awesome." So, as I've told several people, unfortunately, I have not been to Australia. I want to get there. It's on my bucket list. So I'm kind of gathering information on when I go there and I go to the footy. I want to do the best I possibly can. So I want to put you in fan mode for a little bit. When you go to the games,
Mhm.
what's your favorite food when you go to the footy?
Oh, you gotta have a pie. I think that's just standard. I think yeah, they've got. I guess it just depends on what ground you go to, as to what food is available. If you're really fancy, I know that the G now they've got some super fancy stuff, but for me, being a fan, it's just yeah, you get a beer and you get a pie and some chips and stuff, and you just literally sit there and watch the footy. So that's literally yeah, that would be putting my fan hat on.
Awesome. I must ask this question in the Steph Kiochi. She says Chloe Malloy eats a pie by taking the top off and eating it with a spoon. Confirm or non-confirm?
I actually haven't seen her eat a pie before. But you know what? She's a very weird human. So I would not put it past her. She constantly, like when people are icing, she'll go into the ice machine and just go and chew on ice. Like she's just a strange human. But like love her to bits, and she's a great person. But she does some very weird stuff.
I had to ask because that's what she said. She's like when Chloe Malloy eats it, she takes off the top and eats it with a spoon. I was like, wow, that's a very
Yeah,
interesting
I
response to
definitely
that one.
definitely wouldn't put it past her, honestly.
Alrighty, so we'll stay with the fan. Where is your favorite place to watch the footy?
Favorite, I think you can't go past the MCG. I think that's. I mean, I've been to a couple of different grounds. I haven't been to any. I guess I haven't been to. Adelaide Oval when Port and Adelaide play. I think that would be very different. I've been to Adelaide Oval to watch the women's grand final, but I think atmospheres where, like for the SEG as well, like having Giants and Sydney, I think if there is those derbies or over at Optus Stadium with Freo and West Coast, I think having those kind of atmospheres, I think would be incredible. I haven't been to Optus Stadium just yet. We trained outside of it when I played up there last year. But I think, yeah, Optus Stadium would be really exciting to watch from. But I think you just can't go past the MCG. It's such an iconic ground. The SCG, I watched the Swans St Kilda a couple of rounds ago. I think it was Pride game. All of the girls went out there and watched the game, and I'm going to the Collingwood game on the weekend at the SCG. But yeah, I think MCG you can't go wrong.
All right. Favorite when you go to the game, doesn't matter what ground, do you have a favorite seat, like on the wing, at midfield, behind the goals? Do you have a seat that you would prefer to sit out to watch the footy?
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong with the wing. I think you've got to go, and you can't sit on level one. I know everyone wants to sit on level one to be able to be close to the players, but you just can't see everything. I think that's just football brain, just being able to, I guess, assess everything. So I think level two on the wing is probably, yeah, obviously doesn't matter what side. But yeah, you can't sit behind the goals because you can't see, like, pretty much. It's, yeah, I just think wing, you're able to see everything. I think it's prime position.
But it's the cheer squad. You got to be with the cheer squad. I mean, that's the
Oh,
one
trust
thing
me, you can hear the cheer squad. You can
uh,
hear them wherever. Doesn't
yeah,
matter what cheer squad you're sitting there, you can hear them wherever.
yeah, but it's just interesting because I know that's always I've gotten a few invitations from a few of the Swans cheer squad. If I ever get down there, they're like, you should come sit with us. And I'm like, it's awful low. I'd like to sit up just a little bit higher so I can see the entire ground. So I think that'd be
Yeah.
fascinating. So that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to ask that. So I always end with this question because I love how people answer it because there's so many different options. So what is your favorite game of footy that you have ever seen? Women's, men's, doesn't matter. Favorite game of footy you've ever seen?
All right. Favorite game. I think from a women's point of view, I think you can't go wrong with Collingwood Carlton's first round in the season. I think I was sitting there, I was sitting at home watching it, and like the goosebumps that you got, like, and I'm pretty sure I had a few tears as well. Like, it was just incredible to watch. And I think that's probably the one that kind of sticks out in my mind. And then obviously being a Bulldog supporter, unfortunately we beat the Swans in 2016, and I was there, and that was probably one of the best moments of my life. So I think, yeah, being able to support your team growing up and then see them win a granny is just unreal. So I think they're probably the two games that kind of stick in my mind.
Well, I'll tell you this just to be safe. If you ever interact with any Swans fans, don't bring up the 16 grand final. There's still
Oh, I
some
know. Trust me. I
there are
know.
still
My
some
dad.
there are still some scars for many a Swans fan that especially some of the non calls. And for me, I have a lot of doggies friends and mates up here and even down there. So for me, it was bittersweet because as much as I wanted the Swans to win, I didn't mind when the doggies won
Yeah.
because I was so happy for the Western Bulldogs because they had it kind of like 2005 for the Swans. It was such a long time between premierships. So I've it's a very interesting 16 because I have friends that they don't want to talk about it. If they do talk about it, they get angry. So it's just a
Yeah.
very interesting time period for me because like I said, I had enough friends that were Dougie supporters that I was okay with it. I was sad, but I was okay with it as much as I
Yeah.
could be. So,
Yeah.
Aliesha, this has been an absolutely fantastic conversation. I love being able to hear somebody on the inside of the Swans because again, I've been such a fan. I fell in love with the Bloods culture, and I can't wait to see you ladies play. Please relay it to the girls there that we're super excited. We cannot wait. We're chomping at the bit. The first game cannot come soon enough for us.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks for your support as well.
No problem. It won't stop. I will tweet my heart out. I will comment and like the pictures on Instagram. I try to do everything that I can to throw my support at you ladies. And please, if you'd like, let any of the other ladies on the team know if any of them want to have a chat. I would love to have them on the show because
Mhm.
I'm kind of a Swans nuffy. As much as I don't like saying that, I try not to as much as I possibly can, but I will let my nuffy side out a little bit.
No, absolutely. I'll definitely let them know.
All righty then. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been another episode of Donnie's Disposals. Alicia, have a wonderful day down there in Melbourne. Good luck this weekend against Collingwood. Don't have too much fun, and we cannot wait for the regular season to start. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
And
you. Thanks for having me.
all right, and that has been the end of my episode. Again, keep out. AFLW preview should be coming up very, very soon. And then round one starts. Cannot wait. That's the end of our episode. Have a wonderful evening.